Hello there, it's Gillian here from Rustic Journals. I've come on today to do a flip through of a journal that I have just recently finished making. It's such a pretty, feminine, girly journal. I love how it looks. So it's just got one signature, but there is quite a lot of pages in the signature. Can't actually remember how many there is. I can count them at the end actually. But the cover is made with an envelope which has got cardstock inside the envelope, and then fabric on the front and inside cover there. And I've just made this topper here with corrugated cardboard. Some of this, I don't know what you call that stuff, but that's underneath there anyway. And then this card thing with collaged bits and bobs on the top of it there. And then we have this wee ruffle from the same fabric that the cover is done with. And then 3 cute little gems there. And the back is just plain. And the inside cover is just fabric and lace pocket that runs all the way through. So in here, we've got a genuine vintage Collins Garden card. And I just picked this one out because the flowers are pink, which is the same colour as the majority of the journal. This was made from a genuine vintage music book cover. And I've just added on the butterflies there and backed it with some lined paper for journaling on and stitched around the edges. Now the digitals, were they? Oh gosh, I can't remember. Can't remember whose digital papers these were. I will link that in the description below, though, if anybody's interested in purchasing them. So the first page, is just left plain with some lace down the edge there and stitching around the edge. And then we've got some pretty stenciling here. And then I've made this tuck spot with a little fabric and button cluster added on to the frame. It's one of Shabby Does frames that. And we've just got 2 tickets popped into there. And then I've printed this page from the kit out on vellum. It's really pretty. And then we've got genuine vintage music paper here, and I have just gone down the middle of it with some washi tape just to strengthen it up. And then this was made from a box. I can't remember what the box was for, but it had like the acetate window, so I just made this little what do you call those things, a cigarette card. Yeah, just put a little tab on it there to pop inside. So that's a genuine one, that as well. Yeah, so that just goes in there. And then the music paper, it was quite a big music book, this one. So I just made this into a flip out with some journaling space here. And then obviously the ruffle in this, I don't know what you call them either. I'm not doing very good today, am I? So this is just avocado dyed paper. Little label up there. And then we have a glassine bag, and I've glued on some pretty lace. And then this was like a long strip that was in the digital kit. And this was a card in the kit. I've had this kit for so long and I've never done anything with it, so I decided just to make a journal with it. So I'm pretty trimmed down the edge here, and I've just glued on, I don't know if you can see that very well, some gems in the middle of each of the flowers, a really pretty pastel pink colour. And this music sheet, now, would that be French or Spanish? I'm not sure. Oh, French, sorry. Yeah, so I've just tucked that up to make a pocket here, and that's some more of that long trim that I was just speaking about. Some butterfly images on there. And then we've got this pretty envelope with one of my wax seals. And I popped a genuine vintage letter inside that envelope. There's a few genuine vintage bits in this journal. I got my most of my things through now from eBay with all the genuine vintage stuff, so I feel a bit better about parting with it instead of hoarding it. This is genuine vintage ledger paper. Again, some of that fabric from the cover sewn on down the edge there. A lace pocket down the side with this pretty journal tag thing. Journal card, sorry, that just pops in there, and I've stitched around the edge of that. Now this is some of those, what would you call them, embroidered emblems or something maybe, that I got in one of the hauls that I showed you. I just thought they looked really pretty on the corners there. It ties it all in quite nicely, I thought. And again, we've got some genuine vintage ledger paper here. I've just popped a paper ruffle and a wee label there, and another label down here. And this was one of the altered paper clips that I made quite a while back. And I've used it to hold this, which is a, what is it? I think, oh yeah, it's a guarantee for a watch repair. So that was from 1938. That was in one of my eBay bundles. I only put that in because of the red print there. It matched up nice with this ledger paper. One of my clusters that I made, I've just popped that onto the side there. And these as well, pop them on. Some faux tickets that I made. And we've got a vintage Spanish dictionary page. And I popped that label on there because I didn't notice until after I had pulled it out of my ephemera box. Of course, it had to have diarrhea as the word up at the top. I thought, well, we can't have that there. So yeah, that got covered up with a little label. Always a good idea to check your book pages and whatnot that you use. And this here's just clipped on as well. This was part of the kit. I've just added a pretty paper ribbon there. And this is just a mason jar. You can journal on the back. Not much room to journal, but you'd fit a little bit of writing on it. And again, that's one of my little clusters with button and whatnot on it. Now these doily pockets, I made them on camera as well, so if anybody's interested in knowing how I made them, there is a video in my list somewhere. And then we've got this label with some stamping and bits glued down. And then we've got this applique glued on here on top of some washi tape. The reason I put that on was because the flap from this flip out was showing, so it was just really to cover all that up, to be honest. So it's one of these CD, paper CD cover things, and all I've done here is some stamping, added on this embroidered flower, a label and a butterfly. Oh, and I stamped that flower there as well because it's like a faux specimen card. And then inside here, we've got this journal card that I've made out of vintage book page with some crocheted lace down the edge there. And this is from vintage book page as well, a wildflower book. Got a label added on there. And then we've got some lace here with some trim on top of it. And then we get to the middle. And I've just put on some circles that I had punched out of cardstock on there. Label. Just some lace down the edge. Plenty of journal space in this book as well. And then we've got a ruffle with a paper ruffle and a pretty little gem there. Now here we've got one of these money packets that I've just collaged over the top of and added this fabric rose. And then I made a small tuck with a doily there. So that just holds this little one in there. And then inside here we have got a journal card with a applique flower thingy there. And then I just glued it on the 3 sides, so we do have another card here. That's with vintage book page, and that's just digital paper with a bit of washi and a butterfly. And you pop, there we go. Now here we've got a picture from a vintage book page. Can't remember what the book was about, and I've just added some looks like packaging paper and then a label, and I've stapled it before I glued it down, and that's backed onto some paper there. And then we've got a guest check. Plenty journaling space there. And here we've got another one of these money packets. And I've glued on top of that a scrappy notepad. And then inside the packet we've got this faux library card. And again glued on 3 sides. And we've got this little guest check with a fabric flower and a gem, some paper ruffle and lace. The colour of that flower is just a perfect match for this image here. And then we've got the other side of that vintage ledger with a label I've popped on there. Fabric ruffle down the side here. And all I've done on here is added this paper bow up there. And then here we've just got some printed vellum that I've paper clipped onto this ledger paper. Oops. Oh. There we go. And then we've got some crocheted lace down the edge here. Oh, yeah. Some ribbon stitched on down the edge of this one. Now with this side I've tucked the, not tucked, sorry, folded the paper over to make a side tuck here, and all I've just done is stitch around the edge, added this ribbon here and some lace underneath it. And then we've got this pretty journaling card here, and again I've just added some crocheted lace with one of these embroidered flowers there. I thought this flower here, it's a perfect match colour wise for these roses. And then on this side of the music I've just added some coffee dyed paper with 3 pretty little pink butterflies. And then here I've just made this pocket out of some cardstock, added one of these fabric flowers again with a label. And then we've got some embossed card and some digital papers there. And then this brad, I actually made this with a flat back gold brad, and I've added or glued that pink gem on the top. I'm sure it was, oh goodness me now, is it G.I. Kerr or something, I think her name is. I think that's her name. Yeah, she did these on her YouTube channel a short while ago, so I made some as well. And then again, this is folded over to make a side tuck. And I've just added some lace. And with another one of Tina's frames, I've added this book page and this image here on top. And this comes from the same book page as that other big flower journal card. Backed onto some pink cardstock as well. And then we've got the other side of the printed vellum. And then that is the last page of the journal there. And we've got this cute little notebook here, which is tied with some pretty pink sari silk. And then we've got this cute little envelope there. Some lined note paper and some other types of paper in there. And a piece of vintage, what do you call this, like pattern instructions, sewing patterns, yeah. So that just pops in there. You could use that for collaging or something if you wanted to. So this this journal is listed in my Etsy shop. I put that up earlier today. So I'll leave the link for that in the description below, along with the Etsy shop that I got the digitals from. It may have been Odosina, but I just can't remember. But yeah, as I say, I will list that below anyway. And I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care now. Bye-bye.